Hi, I'm Emma Dixon. I'm presenting our paper, The Role of Sensory Changes in Everyday Technology Use by People with Mild to Moderate Dementia. To give you some background information, dementia is an umbrella term for conditions which affect brain functions and are typically correlated with age. Most definitions of dementia describe it as a condition causing cognitive changes affecting memory, thinking, comprehension, learning capacity, and judgment. However, dementia affects more than just someone's cognitive ability. Agnes Houston, a dementia advocate and person living with dementia, in her book, Talking Sense, describes the complex sensory changes people with dementia experience and how these changes are unique to the normal aging process. Although Houston's work demonstrates a variety of ways sensory changes affect people with dementia, there is a divide in technology designed for this population, where technologies are either designed to assist with cognitive challenges, such as memory issues, or designed to provide recreational activities using multi-sensory stimulation. Sensory stimulation has not yet been considered in regards to how it might interact with the cognitive abilities of people with mild to moderate dementia. The aim of this research is to present an understanding of technological strategies that are useful for people with mild to moderate dementia to accommodate their fluctuating sensory needs. I'll now summarize our method to reach this aim. We conducted 30 semi-structured interviews lasting approximately 1 hour each. 19 of these interviews were with practitioners, 11 were with people with mild to moderate dementia. For analysis, we followed Charmaz's constructivist grounded theory. Please see our paper for further details on our method and participant demographics. We uncovered 3 technological strategies used to address people with dementia's unique sensory accessibility needs: stimulating at a desired level, adjusting technologies using built-in settings, and switching devices. When these strategies were inadequate, this led to cessation of use. First, I'll explain the strategy of stimulating at a desired level. Throughout our interviews, participants described encountering overwhelming sensory experiences. At times, technology was the source of overstimulation. For example, one participant explained using multiple social media platforms was just too much for me. It's just getting buried under the clutter. Practitioner 5, who's a speech-language pathologist, explains, people with dementia need pieces of information that are easily understood by that person to avoid becoming visually overwhelmed by large blocks of text. One participant uses his finger as a highlighter to ensure he doesn't become visually overwhelmed when reading on touchscreen devices. At other times, the physical environment was the source of overstimulation. ID4 explains, sometimes the world can feel very confusing and overwhelming. Too much, too many colors, or flashing things in the eyes, or noise. In these instances, participants use auditory stimulation to accommodate their fluctuating sensory needs. For example, ID11 would play music when in a crowded airport to provide soothing or joyful auditory stimulation. At other times, noise-canceling headphones were used to completely block out all sound in overwhelming environments, such as busy city streets. The second strategy people with dementia used involved adjusting technology using built-in settings. Participants sometimes experience hourly changes in visual capabilities, where at 8 a.m. they can read font size 14, but by 4 p.m. they can only read a font size of 24. They explain that with paper, they would have had to stop reading, but on their phone or tablet, they could zoom in or change the font size. As another example of using built-in settings, but to accommodate an interplay of auditory and cognitive changes, ID1 used an application to change all of the notifications on his phone to be audible words of what the notification is. For example, when he gets a WhatsApp notification, his phone will say WhatsApp. ID1 explains this is helpful because it's an audible word that tells you what it is, an audible sound, not just a musical sound, because he's no longer able to recognize what a vibration or a musical tone represents. When their devices were not adjustable using built-in settings, participants used the third strategy, switching devices. Some switch devices or types of technologies due to visual changes. One participant has switched to audiobooks rather than hard copy books or ebooks because she's found, I'm not a good reader anymore. I don't retain what I read, but for some reason, if I listen and imagine it, it works better for me. Participants also described problems with traditional keyboards stemming from changes in dexterity. One example includes participants with dementia switching to voice assistants to record journals when they are no longer able to type on a keyboard. Practitioners described using more traditional assistive technology, such as the drag and speak dictation device shown in this slide. When technologies are not adjustable and there were no alternative devices to switch to, this led to cessation of use. As one example, participants reported visual overstimulation interplaying with information overload as they used different media platforms. Because of this visual overstimulation, one participant describes online forums as not dementia friendly, not one, not the Alzheimer's associations or anybody else's for that matter, and I stay away from them unless I absolutely have to. Now I'll discuss the contributions of our work. The first contribution is in proposing the concept of intentional sensory stimulation. Current technologies designed for sensory engagement of people with dementia often incorporate multiple forms of sensory stimulation at one time, with the hopes that one of these various modes will connect with the individual's optimal mode of interaction. Our findings show that this could cause anxiety or even complete emotional withdrawal for people with dementia. Much research has been done to understand the benefits of music to relieve anxiety and increase positive moods for people with dementia. Past work has even identified the potential of music as assistive media for people with later stage dementia. Based on our work, we suggest the concept of music as assistive technology for people in the early stages of dementia, as music was used to help them focus on specific tasks, such as engaging in social gatherings by blocking out overwhelming stimuli around them. In this way, they use music to facilitate comprehension. Further work is needed to understand how to design technologies which achieve optimal balance of engaging the senses of people with dementia without causing sensory overload. A second contribution of our work is in providing new directions for assistive technology for people with dementia. One such direction comes from the intersection of strategies throughout our findings with those used by other disability communities, opening up opportunities for technological advances and strategies used by these communities. There is much opportunity for further work in this space. This brings me to the end of my presentation. We'd like to thank the people with dementia and practitioners who participated in this research. We're also grateful to those who have reviewed versions of this paper. Thank you.